Hi, everyone. I'm Cynthia Lyman, Wasatch Front Marketing Manager.
And I'm Julene Reese, the Public Relations Specialist for Extension. And today we are going to do a webinar on customer service. We're going to talk about how it's not a department, but it is more a philosophy.
Absolutely, and an attitude, I think. So I guess one of our first questions is, how seriously do we take that responsibility? If it weren't for our customers or students or county residents, wherever you work, we wouldn't have jobs.
Absolutely. And I don't know if sometimes do we tolerate the people that are customers, or do we show that we appreciate them? And customers can feel that. And, we can feel it when you go to a counter somewhere, a store or something, and if they're just tolerating you and tolerating their job and getting through their 8 hours, you can tell.
Yes.
And so I think our goal is to help all of us to become better at customer service and become and take that seriously, that responsibility seriously of serving the public.
Absolutely. Good point. I love this title that's sitting here on her desk. It says Director of First Impressions, because we are all directors of first impressions, aren't we?
Absolutely. Whether it's on the phone or in an email or in person, the first time they see us and the first experience they have with us is going to determine if they want to come back or if they like our business or our organization. And it's a pretty big deal that I don't know if we always realize the importance of it.
Right, that warmth that we can convey to people. The next question is, why is good customer service so important?
And my question is, tell us about that picture.
Oh, that picture.
Cynthia picked this one out, and I love it.
Well, I think it shows that you really need to nurture that relationship, and relationships are money, basically. I mean, really, it's what we do, whether we're selling a product or a service or providing knowledge. I mean, so there's always money somewhat attached to that. And so you need to nurture the relationship.
And I think that picture really portrays it, because he's kind of got his his hands very carefully around the plants, and he's helping them grow. And I think that's how we need to look at our customer service.
So we pulled off some of these facts from the business-to-business-community.com website because we thought these were really important. That the average consumer interacts with customer service 65 times a year. And
I'd be willing to bet it might even be higher than that. I think about my own life, and that's probably an average, but yeah, there's a lot of interaction that happens. And 76% say they view customer service as the test of how much, if they feel like the company values them, which translates into, will I go back to them?
Yeah.
So,
and 73% of consumers will recommend a brand to others if they're satisfied by that customer experience.
Well, and absolutely. I think about myself when I'm excited about a company or a business and I feel like they've treated me well, I want to tell everybody about it.
Yeah, but you really do.
Yeah, so that's
if it's a good product, if they're if you feel like you're appreciated, you definitely want to go back and you want to share it with your friends and family.
Right. And it also mentions that it's 6 times more expensive to win a new customer than it is to retain one that you already have. So, yes, of course we want to be growing and things, but if you're looking strictly at expense, growing those relationships with the people that you already have as your customers is, it's a smart thing to do. And it just show them that you care.
Absolutely. So once a customer leaves, 4 out of 5 say they will never come back. That's pretty high. And if they do, 59% say they will be less loyal.
Right.
They might only be back for that sale.
Right. Right.
Or something that they really can only get at that one organization.
Right. And if you have a bad experience, you feel like you're frustrated and upset, and you just think, why would I want to go back there again?
Yeah, and take more abuse.
Sure, exactly. We've got some video clips to show that in just a few minutes. Oh, we have one right now.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we have no midsize available at the moment.
I don't understand. I made a reservation. Do you have my reservation?
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, we ran out of cars.
But the reservation keeps the car here. That's why you have the reservations.
I know why we have reservations.
I don't think you do. If you did, I'd have a car. See, you know how to take the reservation, you just don't know how to hold the reservation. And that's really the most important part of the reservation, the holding. Anybody can just take them.
I love that.
Let me speak with my supervisor.
There we go.
Yeah, passing the buck to the supervisor. It's like, why in the world, where'd those cars all go?
Yeah, exactly. And the rest of the clip is she goes to her supervisor, she comes back, they still don't have a mid-sized car, she gives them a little tiny one, and then it's goes on from there. But the point is he did not get what he asked for, and she just didn't seem to really care.
Yes.
And I think that's the point, is just letting people know that you're going to help them, that you care, that you're on their team, and you want to do what you can to make things work out for them.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, do what you say you're going to do. And if you tell a customer you're going to give them something or offer them something, do it.
Right. Because that just frustrates everyone. So, so often the search for great customer service comes from a bad experience. And we would like to ask our audience the question of, think about your good or bad customer service experiences and share those with us. We'd like to talk about those at the end. If you want to write those up in the chat box, that would be great. So we went to a conference, a Qualtrics conference last spring, and they had Sir Richard Branson there from Virgin. It was Virgin Records, and now it's airlines and all kinds of,
right.
The Virgin Group is what it is. And he talked a lot about customer service and the bad experiences that can happen, and that it depends on how you handle those as to whether or not you're going to have the customer come back. But we got thinking about our own experiences as we're asking you about yours. And I'll just share one that I had that was a really bad experience that turned out to be a good one. And it made me want to keep going to that establishment. But we were going to lunch for somebody's birthday in my office. And it was my suggestion that we went to a certain restaurant and that we could patio dine, and it was going to be lovely. And we get there was probably 12 or 14 of us. I think there was maybe only one waiter in the whole place that day. Mm-hmm. And it took forever to get him there. It took forever to get our food. It wasn't right when we got it. It was cold. One of our employees, we'd been there an hour and a half and he didn't get any of his food. And finally he just said, so what about I don't know what it was. And they said, oh, we're out of that. It's like, that's not the best time to tell him that. Maybe when he ordered it, it would have been good. So he left and he was hungry. He didn't get any food. So start to finish, we were there about 2 hours, and it just got more and more frustrating. And I just thought, the manager of this restaurant needs to know what happened. And so I wrote a letter to him and kind of expressed some of my frustrations and what had happened. And I got a really prompt response back, and they were very sympathetic and very understanding. And they also included a $100 gift card for me.
That goes a long way to making you feel better.
Absolutely. Because otherwise I would not have gone back, and none of those 12 or 14 people that were with me would have either. So that was a smart move on their part, because that was a lot of people that, if everybody tells one or two people,
right,
that's a lot of people that can trash their business or talk smack on them or whatever. So anyway.
And the service was better, I hope.
Absolutely. It was better. It was just a bad day, and I get that happens, but I'm happy that they were willing to listen to me when I complained and make it right.
And it empowered you as a customer to be able to fix the problem, help them fix the problem.
Right. And it made me feel like I could do something about it, when things don't go how we want. It was empowering to me to feel like I can do something. My voice can be heard, and it was. So
that's awesome. I had a bad experience with my credit union where a deposit went into the wrong account, and I spent probably a month trying to get the problem solved. And I called the credit union, then I called the person that was supposed to deposit it. There was a middleman, and it went on. And the customer service loop was like you couldn't talk to the same person each time. And sometimes they didn't make notes, in their computer system. And I was about to the point where I was like, okay, do I need to get a lawyer involved? That really turned me off. And I'm like, I'm a longtime customer. This should not happen.
Yeah.
So, really and truly, once it finally did happen, you just feel so relieved, but you don't really have good feelings about it.
Exactly. When that takes a month to resolve, that really does leave you with bad feelings about them. So, so we need to keep that in mind when we're dealing with our customers.
So if we have customer service stories, when you want to take them at the end or right now?
We can do.
Take
a story.
If we have a story.
Bronson has one in the chat if you want to read it.
Okay.
If we can figure out how to get to chat.
I have to get out of full screen, so maybe you want to wait. till-
Maybe let's
Okay.
just go into
Yep.
complaints.
We will go into full screen at the end, or get out of full screen and do our questions at the end. So, or your stories. Thank you for sharing, and keep them coming. We want to hear. So this was also from Sir Richard Branson from the conference that we went to. And he said, a complaint is a chance to turn a customer into a lifelong friend. At Virgin, we think that if we address a complaint well and even involve the customer in the solution, it brings the customer closer to our brand. And he's got a really great example here of what they did about what could have been a bad experience for somebody. So they had a customer in first class, and he was eating whatever, it was an Indian themed meal on the flight, and
Indian food can be very good, but this does
it can
not
go
sound
bad.
delicious.
Yeah. So he wrote a letter to them, and I think that's awesome to take a step and try to get things right. And it says, the passenger described the food that he ate as a miscellaneous central cuboid of beige matter, which just sounds horrid. I just
Very
think it must have been
articulate.
really, that was really good. So it wasn't necessarily, you know, how awful the food was or how awfully he described it or how well he described awful food or whatever. It's how they managed that complaint after.
Mhm.
And so Richard Branson invited this passenger to help them overhaul the menu.
Mhm.
And he later asked them to be on the board of the airline's culinary council.
Love that.
So he turned, you know, a really bad thing into something good, and who better than the customers to really tell you what's going on and what's, you know, what needs to be fixed. So
I think it's a company philosophy with Virgin too, because he
Absolutely.
talked about how he started the company was that they were all at the airport, or he was at the airport with some friends, and they canceled his flight to Hawaii or something. And here all these people were ready to go. And so he ended up chartering a plane, and this whole group of people were able to fly to where they were planning to go to. And, you know, it's like being a problem solver. Solving customers' problems are really what we're in the business of doing.
absolutely.
So I think some of the questions are, a lot of times we're not trained in customer service, and yet there's an expectation that we're going to be good at it, right? And I don't think that it comes naturally to everyone. But we've all been around people that have been trained and can tell the difference between those that are and aren't. And what it really comes back down to is, how do you like to be treated as a customer? Treat others the way you want to be treated.
And I think you look at what's the most professional approach.
Mhm.
And yeah, think about experiences that you've had and emulate those. Like, you know, somebody that takes care of you, that's there for you, that understands, that doesn't just put you on hold or keep going, you know, sending you through a phone
To the next
loop.
hierarchy of
Exactly.
supervisors.
And like you're saying with your credit union, it's so often that you call and you have a concern, and you never talk to the same person twice, and that
Right.
gets frustrating.
Yeah.
So I think that personal care is a huge thing that we need to be aware of.
Mhm. I love this idea that there's different ways to say the same things, just more professionally. And these are based on some real life
Yeah,
examples.
these are real life
right?
examples. Yes. So I think we've all heard on the phone. Hopefully we haven't said it, but yeah, yup, nope. You know, just let's be professional and say yes or no, or, you know, just not use slang. But I think that professionalism comes through in just even in our little words like yes and no.
I love that next one. Don't tell people too much information. Don't say Joe's in the bathroom. You can say, but Joe stepped down the hall, or he
That's right.
stepped out. You know, you don't have to give them, let's be
Yeah.
professional.
Yep. And again, this is another one that we heard. Joe's not in the office much, but you know, whatever. So we don't know, and the customer doesn't need to know that. Just say, you know, Joe's out. I'm not exactly sure when he'll be back, but can I take a message for you? So yeah, don't give too much information about your about your organization and the people that you work with. So I think just be professional, and you know, let's put everyone forth in a good light.
And don't you love it when people put you on hold with hold please the minute they picked up your phone call.
Right.
So what's a better way? What's a better way?
So let them know who they called in the first place, because if they're going to sit on hold for 20 minutes and they don't even know if they have the right place. So a better way to do that would be to say, extension marketing or whoever you're from, can I put you on hold, please?
Mhm.
And at least you've identified, who you are.
Called the right
They called the
place.
right place. So I think just be informative and helpful, and sometimes you do have to put people on hold, and people don't love to be on hold, but if you're pleasant about it and you don't leave them there forever, people understand. So
Mhm.
So now we're going to talk about some things that we found on, it's called purecustomerservice.com. And there's a guy named David Brownlee, and he's got 7 essentials for excellent customer service. And some of these we've kind of talked about, but I love the way that he summarizes this. And he just talks about the importance of being heard, to be understood, and to be cared for. And I think really that's what humans want. We want to have a voice. Like in my instance, when I realized that my voice did count, when they heard that I'd had a bad experience and they did something about it. And I felt like I was understood and they cared, so I think just we need to listen to
Right.
the
And
customer.
sometimes people do want to vent, and it's sometimes hard to listen to them vent if they're just complaining and being harassing. But if there's a way that you can at least kind of acknowledge that you're there and you're listening, and you can even give them feedback like, oh, I hear what you're saying, and I hear that must be very frustrating. Using words that are a little more calming,
Yeah.
I think is also helpful.
Yeah. The next one is what David Browning calls SEC, smile, eye contact, and comment. So just, we all know how far a smile goes. It doesn't really take much effort, and it shows that you care and that you're engaged. And I think along with that is the eye contact. Smile and make eye contact. If you go to someone's desk or an office or something and they've got their head down and they're clearly not even aware that you're there, or they don't care that you're there and not paying attention, I think, that can really put out some bad vibes for you and your company. So engaging with a smile and eye contact can make a difference.
You're much more approachable too.
Absolutely.
When you're smiling and you're making eye contact, they think, oh, okay, I'm here.
Yeah, they recognize me.
I'm listening. Yeah.
And then also a friendly comment. You can just give them a little compliment or make a comment or something. It's kind of funny. David Browning did say, men, keep it classy and not creepy. So just be careful. We don't want to creep anybody out.
Advice,
So just,
yes.
yeah.
Is it appropriate?
Be classy.
Next idea is listen to your customers. They want to be heard and understood. And sometimes it's repeating it back to them, helping them to see that you are hearing them.
Right. And again, we've kind of talked about empathizing. Just let them know you understand and that you care and that you're listening.
Mm-hmm. Think about solutions for their issues and complaints. Look into your company policy or talk to your supervisor. Try and be a problem solver, whatever you need to do. I think then they really believe that you're on their side.
Right.
Want to help them.
And we have a really great video we're going to show at the end that is a good example of that. So then it goes back to just clarifying the situation, just saying, I think I understand that you need me to do X, and I plan to do that by Wednesday, and I'll get back with you or whatever. And then if you promise you're going to follow up, or even if you don't, following up can go a long way with people, whether it's a phone call or a text or
even if you can't
media.
solve their problem, giving them an update goes a long way
right.
to fostering that relationship.
Yeah, and I just think that follow through is like icing on the cake and lets them know that you're in their camp and you're still aware of them and you're wanting to take care of them.
Mm-hmm. So we believe in high levels of customer service. Not all of us do it every single day perfectly, but it's one of those things that I think if you have the right attitude, the right philosophy, we can show people that we really care.
And it's something that we're striving for. And
it's something I think organizations and government organizations are really feeling more like we need to care about these people and we need to go beyond the everyday. No one cares about how much you know until they know how much you care.
And this was, we were at a different conference last spring, and they talked about just technology. It was a technology-based conference, which was awesome. But the last speaker, the thing that he said was, be more human. And I think we can, technology has taken away a lot of that personal touch. And and people are just a number and letters and words. And I really took that to heart because I feel like that is kind of something that's being lost in our information technology world right now. So be more human. And that goes back to what she just said about the caring and is it just a job? Do you really care? Are you just putting in your time and you're just trying to, get through the day? Or do you really show them that you're interested and you care and you want to take care of them?
Well, and I think there's some job satisfaction with that too.
Absolutely.
When
Sure.
you feel like you're doing a good job or you're helping somebody else, then you feel good about your job
Right.
and yourself.
Sure. And I think also, I've noticed lately when I've made phone calls to companies or whatever, and they end the conversation with, have I resolved all your problems, or is there anything else I can do to help you? And I really appreciate that, because sometimes there are things like if there's something else that I'd forgotten about, and then prompting me to ask that has helped me, ask that, and then I get further help from them.
Mhm.
So I think there's nothing wrong with saying, is there anything else I can do for you? It's just that touch, the icing on the cake again.
Mhm. So from a website called customercode.com, we came across the tenets of great customer service. There's certain things that people really expect when they are being, handled, I guess is the right word. So one of the very first is earn my attention, don't steal it. So I'm thinking about like websites, ads that are delightful and entertaining, like some that we've shown, they entertain us, but they earn our attention. But the ones that pop up or interrupt your story that you're reading, those steal it.
Right. So, and then I think that also goes into emails. If we're bombarding people with them, or if we're being really discreet about, being careful who we send them to, if they're the right fit for this particular email. And I'll just mention here, Extension has got a service that we've been using. It's called Drip. It's a campaign, and it really specializes emails by topic, by zip code, by age,
Subjects.
if we have that
Yeah.
information on our customers, and it really helps streamline what they get, so they're not just getting bombarded
Right.
with everything.
Right.
So I think that shows respect to the customer when we're aware and not just bombarding them with everything.
Mm-hmm. Treat me like a person and not a persona. So really think about building the relationship with the person. It's like you got to be a friend to have friends,
Right.
and interact with them how and where and when they want. It's not always like that we're pushing our information. That's why email sometimes is good, because they can read it when they want.
Right.
So.
And, I think sometimes we get sent to customer care or customer service departments or whatever, and people don't care. They just want their problem taken care of. We've all sat on hold forever when they transfer us all over, and we just want to have our problem solved, and we don't care about where it has to go or who, or their supervisor will come and make a decision. It's just, you just want to have them fix it for you.
Right.
So I think we need to be aware of that and deliver on the promises
Mm-hmm.
that they make.
I think use of data is another thing that people are so afraid of getting their data, whether they're being hacked or they're getting their information out there too much. So I think we need to be very sensitive about that. And one of the ways that we are doing that within Extension is through these Drip campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
It's very targeted. We know that people are interested in gardening or emergency preparedness or whatever. We know that is very, going to that person. It's a very personalized experience.
Right.
And the companies that protect data and are thoughtful about their communications with their employees, they grow better, it sounds like. And it's better, at developing that relationship.
Right. Ask for feedback, which is really the only way that you can, gauge how your customers are feeling about you. The absence of a complaint isn't a compliment, and the absence of feedback doesn't mean that you necessarily have a fan. So ask for that feedback. And if somebody feels strongly enough, they'll give that to you. And then you need to act on it, though. If you get the feedback and it may not be something you want to hear,
then they're not going to trust you again.
Exactly. So you need to act on it and take care of whatever it is that they're sharing with you,
Mm-hmm.
Especially if it's bad. So.
Mm-hmm. Own your screw ups. Everyone makes mistakes. And it's how you deal with them that sets you apart. And if you're sorry, be sorry, and then make it better.
Right.
It's as simple as that.
And I think we've seen that on the news and things when we get sports figures or political figures or whatever that do something stupid
Or say
which
something
seems to
stupid.
happen. And, some of them will backpedal and try to get out of it and try to, blame somebody else. And then there's those that just say, you know what, I did make a mistake. And I just feel like there's a lot more respect that comes for someone that responds like that when something has happened. I made a mistake, I'm sorry, and then do your part to make it better.
Mhm. Help me help you. Customers know what they need. And so give them ways to answer their own questions and solve their own problems. You're there to help them in that process. You don't get off scot-free.
Yeah.
But you really are, again, trying to develop that relationship. So keep your website organized, the information updated and clear so they can help themselves. And I think within Extension, we have over, 100 websites?
No, it's more than 160, is that?
100.
A lot.
And
yeah.
it's hard sometimes to keep up
Sure.
that. And, but if you need help with that, we're here to help. But we want to, you really want to have current stuff. You don't want to have something that happened back in April on there in October. And so keep your information up to date.
And if it is, we all know if you go to a website and it clearly isn't up to date, you're not going to go back there.
Right.
Even if they fix it the next day, you don't know that. And usually you just think, well, they're not updating it and I'm not going to waste my time there. So yeah, I think that's good to make it so that people can help themselves by us keeping things updated.
The last thing is don't block the exit. Let them out of the email or the contract or the agreement whenever possible. We want them to feel like they are winning. There's sometimes that it can't happen, but you really want people to walk away with good feelings about your organization. And blocking the exit means destroying that relationship.
Exactly. I think we've had experiences with gym memberships or other things where, you're signed into something and you have to get ugly with them and that surely doesn't help them or you never want to go back and they've got a frustrated customer. So yeah, just if they need to have an out, then let them have it so they feel like they are winning and in control.
I guess we weren't done with that.
We're close.
Do the right thing even when it's hard. And growing in a way that is good for our customers, our partners, and employees. And all of us are trying to grow, but doing the right thing for your customers, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard,
Yeah.
is how we grow.
Right. So there's a place called Nextiva blog, and they listed their top 10 companies that provide good customer service. And we're not going to go through all these, but
Nordstrom's always on everybody's list. They
Yeah.
have that whole philosophy, be willing to say yes every time. And I've never, ever had bad customer service there.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. Dry Bar, you can't replace the unique customer service experience.
And Danny Myers Union Square, which is Shake Shack people, make your customers feel special. Making your customers feel special never gets old. And that's true. The times that I've been there, no matter where the Shake Shack is, I just feel like they do a good job of that.
And, Chick-fil-A is another place
Absolutely.
that I love to go to because
absolutely.
when you're there, they're always like, oh, it's a pleasure.
Yep.
Doing.
If you thank them, they just always say my pleasure. And they've clearly taught their employees to all say that, but I love it. You can count on it. You can count on them being pleasant. And I also feel like that with In-N-Out Burger. I feel like they have got really pleasant customer service there too. And maybe their food's not the best in the whole wide world, but you're going to have a good experience there. And so I'm not saying it's not the best food in the whole wide world.
Food.
I do too, especially the animal style. Have you ever had that? That's like a heart attack on a plate. But
That is so good.
anyway, so that can go a long way of just making them feel, like
Special.
Sure.
And loved. Yeah.
Sure. And Virgin Records, we've talked about that. There's no such thing as a bad customer.
Philosophy is awesome.
And then the last one we're going to talk about, which we have a video for, which is awesome. It's Zappos. And they say to empower your employees to wow your customers. There's a really great example of that in this video here.
They're the online shoe people.
Right.
Thanks for calling Zappos. This is Steve. How can I help you?
Hi, Steve. I made a terrible mistake.
Hey, hon, can you pack up all my jewelry for me?
Is that the way your husband packs?
Return this.
No.
Quite a pepper. Off it goes.
Honey, where did you put all my jewelry?
I put it in that Zappos box.
Uh-oh.
Holding back to you guys.
Maybe I'll throw all these out. What even is this?
What's it done?
I can help with that.
I love how he cuts that.
Thanks, Tony.
There he is on the plane.
Hi, it's Steve from Zappos. I have your car.
Thank you.
Zappos, our map is to wow 24/7 customer service.
That's a great ad, isn't it? But
It
it's
is.
like they've really empowered their employees to go the extra
Absolutely.
mile.
He
haven't
hopped
they?
on a plane, and that is a real story. That employee hopped on a plane, he got the box
Returned
back
it.
to him, and probably saved their marriage. So
Probably. That's awesome.
anyway, so that was
Thanks
Vow
for
to
calling.
Wow.
So thanks for joining us. And at this time, we would like to look at stories that came in. Did we have one or two or?
Just one.
Okay. Would you like to just share it
Yeah.
yourself?
Yeah.
Tell us the story. Aubrey.
Okay, so Bronson said, my wife got a new phone and the guy asked what color she wanted. When she asked for the green one, he said they only had red and gray.
Huh. Okay.
He maybe should have just gave her those options in the first place.
Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of rough.
Well, I think the big message too is that we remember the bad experiences with customer
Mhm.
service more than we do the good.
Sure.
And as I was trying to think about the good ones, I was having a hard time, but I had lots of bad experiences. So
Right.
would like to encourage you in your quest for amazing customer service. If you have any other suggestions or questions for Jolene or I, find us online and send us an email. We'd be happy to help on those things. Also, we're going to have some email templates of customer service that people can download that Aubrey's going to put up on the chat box, I believe, as well.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it. And good luck in your quest for awesome customer service.
Thanks for joining us,
Okay.
guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.